So Carson's gonna take over here, if that's still okay with Carson.
Totally.
Right on. Well, just yeah, we got a small group here. Just want to say thanks to Jeff for getting everything together, getting the word out. We were just talking to another team 15 minutes ago, and they're just telling us there's so much more we can do. And we're like, yes, every team is calling us right now, and they're like, how do we do more? We know there's so much more we can do. So I just want to say thanks to Jeff for getting everybody together here, and appreciate everybody jumping on here too. I'm sure y'all probably feel the same, and we want to make sure that your time today, as well as all your time using Dash, is impactful for you professionally and for your business, and just makes life a little easier for everybody too. So, thanks all for joining today.
Yeah, we got a couple more people flooding in too. As I said in the email, just kind of want to share some ideas around the league, right? One of the best bosses I ever had said there's no sense in reinventing the wheel. Like if somebody's got it figured out, like let's all share our ideas and like everybody help everybody make money. So, yeah, Jeff had the idea to bring everybody together. We put a little deck together here. If you want to scan the QR code, you can have access to this presentation, share it with anybody in your group that needs to see it. There's like 25 slides here. I don't know if we'll hit all of them today, but there's some really, really good information in there. And all of this stuff is clickable too. So like at any time you can click into these different activations and see what's going on. Um,
April just got on.
oh, awesome.
Really?
Yep.
Perfect. Um, kind of as I mentioned in the email too, Columbus and Carolina are encroaching on. They're absolutely crushing it. So, Jeff, Columbus crew, if you guys have some ideas as we're going through this, please feel free to like jump in and share some ideas. I don't know if Carolina is here or not. I haven't seen Charlie jump on, but if he does, I'm going to put him in the spotlight too. But jumping right into it is revenue rankings from the season. Columbus, Carolina, I think they were like $700 off of one another. It was very, very close at the top. Um, but the rest of the standings are listed there. So if you're curious where you landed in revenue, that is your slide. The top 10 teams averaged $50,000 this season. So very, very well
Wow.
done there. Transactions. So transactions are just as important as revenue, mainly because every transaction is a lead, right? Every single time you charge a card on Dash, you are getting their name, their phone number, their email. Dash has reporting. I'm not sure if anybody's using it, but it will tell you if that person is a season ticket holder, yes or no. It will also tell you if they are in venue, yes or no. So makes for some very easy, customized, personalized touch points at the end of activations. Columbus does raffles every game. If you're able to do that, great, but please check, your local guidelines and laws before you run raffles. But that's where they're getting a lot of their transactions. Buy nows are another really, really great way to just get transactions rolling, get some leads. Teams are doing chuck a puck, teams are doing mystery jerseys, mystery bundles, mystery buy nows, pucks, right? Like flash sales, 4th of July flash sales, Christmas in July is a really good one that's happening right now. Put some stuff out there for 10 bucks, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, and just start running some transactions. These teams averaged 313 transactions this season, so that's, I think Columbus was probably a little bit higher, but that's 300, contacts that you guys could be hitting over the summer. Consistency is also important. It's our job to train our fans to go where we want them to go and do what we want them to do. I like to make the analogy of like if we score a goal and we want them to sing a certain song, we have to train them, right? We have to tell them what that song is. We have to put the words up on the video board. We got to get it out into the world. Same for making purchasing decisions for our fans. So if it's Mother's Day, if it's Father's Day, 4th of July, whatever it is, back to school, like we don't want them going to Etsy. We don't want them going to Amazon. We want them coming to your team pages. So how are we consistent? How are we putting things out there? And how are we training our fans that this is, the place to be and the place to look for our team's gear? Carolina ran at least one activation 46 of the last 52 weeks, which is absolutely insane. They were nearly perfect last season with their consistency. So every week they were putting something in front of their fans. Any questions on the rankings so far? Any thoughts, comments, concerns?
Hey, Carson, it's Anthony in Athens.
Yeah,
A quick question on the numbers when you talk about transaction. Is the when you look at those numbers, it says average of 313. Is that people that just view the event, or is that actual like because we just did an event over the weekend and I think we had 219 views of the event. Is that the transaction number that you mentioned here, or is the transaction number derived from other data?
great question. Transaction is actually the card being ran. So that is how many purchases are being made. Views are great though. Views is another one. I don't know if you guys are using that on like your email receipts that you're getting, but it does say like how many people viewed your event. And that's a phenomenal number to know if you're getting, the word out in the right places. So
That's a yeah. If there's any team out there that is not getting their recap email that says like, here's how many people viewed, here's our conversion rate, here's the revenue, here's what items sold to what person, just drop us a note and we'll get you in those automated emails. It's kind of I, there's a lot of turnover in sports and it's tough to keep up with all the emails that should be receiving those. So if you're not getting those, let us know. We can get that updated.
cool. Anthony, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, perfect. We'll scroll down here just to some FPHL stats. 41% of the FPHL teams transacted more than $50,000. So congrats to you guys on that. If you are not one of those teams, please reach out to Jonathan and I. I promise we can get you there. Just with some easy, simple activations, maybe across the summer, home opener, whatever that is. We can definitely get you guys to at least 50 grand. Columbus topped the league, as we talked about, with over $95,000. The FPHL as a whole, year over year, had a 16.8% increase. So again, congratulations to you guys. That growth from what we've seen on the back end and the data and what you guys are running, the types of activations, really came from game day revenue. That is item of the game. That is first goal pucks. That is chuck-a-pucks. That is what ones am I missing? Jonathan, game day
And
experiences.
Boney, seat upgrade, what the one in Atlanta, the on the call where a
Yeah,
fan can go be in the radio booth during the second intermission, or not intermission, but the period. That
yeah.
was a good one.
A lot of teams too have started doing items of the away game. So they've essentially found 28 to 36 more opportunities, no matter however many of those away games that you have, to list a single item, right? It's an one item every away game, or it's jersey off the back of the away game. Your fans are coming to your website, they're coming to your social media, they are checking the score, they are checking for highlights, right? Like they're engaging when you're on the road to come see what's happening. It's so easy just to add another Instagram story or a slide on your website that's like score update and then click here to bid, right? Those two things go hand in hand. So just hit them with it while they're already there. Moving into ticket sales ideas. This is one that a lot of leagues have been asking about because everybody wants to sell tickets, right? That is the main question in sports is how do we get more butts and seats and how do we sell more tickets? That is something that Dash can help with as well. One of our favorite ideas that we always like to share is what the Rockford Ice Hogs did 2 years ago now. They were sitting on piles of leftover inventory. They had jerseys, they had pucks, they had mini sticks. They were just sitting on inventory. They listed all of their inventory in June and did a Seats for Kids auction. All of the money raised during this auction went back to buy tickets for their kids' day game. So literally they just took all the proceeds and bought tickets with it. And they dumped like $15,000 in their group sales bucket in June, which is an insane number for any of our teams, right? Anybody needs $15,000 in their group sales bucket at any given time. So that was such a good idea on their end. And it doesn't just have to be kids kids, it can be military, it can be first responders, it could be nurses, right? Like you can translate this to any of the theme nights that you guys are working on. Mystery tickets are always phenomenal. Um, Jonathan, you're laughing. Are you laughing at me?
No, Jeff is texting me and making fun of me.
Oh, good. I like that. Go, Jeff. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Mystery tickets are awesome, especially right now when like season tickets are still on sale. Like the seats or your Ticketmaster or your sales platform isn't completely built out. So you don't have your season built out on your ticket platform. You don't know where you're going to see people. People can't select exact seats. That's where mystery tickets are key, right? Like you can just do put up 50 mystery tickets for opening night and say one lucky fan is going to win a jersey to incentivize sales. And then the benefit of this is you get to put them wherever you want. You can fill in the holes, you can put them behind the bench, you can put them behind the goal, you can put these people wherever you need to while upgrading a couple to be on the glass or center ice, right? Like that's the fun of mystery tickets is you could have the best seats in the house. This was another one Tucson did with their school day game. Kind of what Rockford did, but they did it more in a raffle format. Again, just make sure you can do that in your state or city before running a raffle. But they essentially put together just a really, really cool bundle. And it was like signed jerseys, signed memorabilia, experiences. For 20 bucks, you could enter this, and all of the money went back to buying tickets, essentially. Any questions on this slide or any tickets, questions on tickets? I know I didn't cover a couple, but you guys can kind of click into them later.
Um, Go ahead, Anthony.
Now, one of the things I was going to ask either one of you is when we talk about teams and the numbers they get to, and maybe you'll cover this later, and is there a balance that you guys have seen versus, okay, hey, for like in Rockford, they did the seats for kids, it just generates a bunch of revenue that they throw into a pot, and then they could use that to bring school kids out
Sure.
versus a buy now, get a signed item versus a raffle. Do you guys see a balance of what generates more in revenue versus because one of the things that I think we've had a little bit of difficulty over here in Athens was that we as a first year team, we could not find the happy balance. We were not, even though you said we had these transactions, I was like, I just saw some numbers from emails and that's why I asked the question because we had I'll be honest, we had a 3.3% bid rate based off of views at our auction over the weekend. So we're trying to figure out ways to increase our dash usage and our dash sales, but I didn't know if you guys will talk about it or if you've seen what's the best balance? Is it just a 33% across the board of each thing, or is it say, hey, teams that are doing really well are doing more buy nows versus whatever? And I think one of the things you also mentioned too, that and we don't do it here, is you're saying teams are using Dash for like their in-house stuff, so their raffles and their chuck-a-pucks. We do that stuff through Square. Right now, we build it out in that thing. So stuff like that is like information I didn't know that's how teams can generate revenue through the Dash program is using some of their in-house stuff. So I didn't know if you guys had any data that shows like, hey, teams that do really well, this is why, because they have more of their stuff focused on giveaway items or signed items or whatnot. So
Yeah, we actually have some really good pie charts. They're not in this presentation, but I can share them offline too. The teams that are doing the best on Dash, the Coachellas, the Huntsvilles, they are using all five functions of Dash like pretty consistently, right? So for those of you who don't know, there's five functions on Dash. We have auctions, which is pretty much the bread and butter. Um, when everyone thinks auctions, though, they think full set jersey auctions. This can just be one item, right? For example, the Cleveland Monsters, their goalie, his nickname is like Cowboy, I think. So they went and got a cowboy hat. He signed the cowboy hat. They put up one cowboy hat and went for 800 bucks. It was wild. There's a buy now, which is just an instant purchase, right? This is great for Chuck-a-Pucks or t-shirts for a game, pucks, whatever that might be. It's just literally instant purchase. There's some pretty fun and funky examples for that one too. The Buffalo Bandits is a lacrosse team. They won the championship They had their interns walk around and pick up every piece of confetti off of the ground, and they sold little bundles of confetti for 20 bucks, and they made like thousands of dollars on little pieces of confetti from the game. Um, Coachella, I don't know if we have any of the new FPHL teams on here, but Coachella in their inaugural season, they melted their ice, bottled their ice, and sold bottles of dirty hockey water for like $200 a bottle, like of inaugural season melted ice, right? Just wild stuff. Who buys this? Where it goes? I have no idea, but it's selling. So that's the instant purchase. There's the custom buy now, which is just like a buy now. It's an instant purchase, but it allows your fans to talk back to you. So what a lot of teams are using this for is like customized jerseys or customized locker plates or even like video board announcements. They can scroll through. They're going to say, I'm coming to the game on November 12th. Happy birthday, Jonathan! Exclamation point, pay $10, right? Um, Raffles.
Military, hockey fights cancer. That could be a fundraiser in game. Get people to go to that point of sale. We love you, Grandma. You know, thanks, Anthony, for your service.
Yeah.
And download the report real quick and can use it instantly.
That, that's a great one for military. Like, say who your hero is and like put that person's name up on the board for 10 bucks and like give all that back to the local VA or something. But raffles, that's one item. Typically, what a lot of teams are doing is like a jersey every game or an item every game. And they layer those raffle options. So Columbus does really well with this, but they do like 5 tickets or one ticket for $5, 3 tickets for $10, 20 for 20. Birmingham and the SPHL we just saw the other day had like a $300 package in their raffle. Never fails. Some of those biggest numbers are the ones that are purchased the most just because people are like, $300 and I get a signed jersey. Like, okay, cool. Like, so the science behind that too is what we've seen is you have about 15% of your market who can afford a 500 to $1,000 jersey 7 or 8 times a year. But you've got about 80% of your market that can afford a $20 raffle ticket, right? And that's where some teams are listing like suites or fan experiences, or as Jonathan says, Zamboni rides up for raffle, and they're making more on the raffle than they would just selling it outright. Again, I just have to say it legally, just make sure that you can run a raffle in your state or city. Um, just be sure with your legal team that that's something that you can do because I know the laws are different in every state. But then the last one, the last function of Dash is just enter to wins. That's free. That's no money down. That's enter to win a parking pass for the season or enter to win popcorn at every game or season tickets, whatever it is. The more people you can get to buy or bid or enter to win, they're all accumulated under your dashboard as one of your users. So when you go live, when you have 24 hours left and you have 1 hour left, Dash is sending push notifications to all of those folks for you. So again, the bigger you can grow that, the more some of the groundwork marketing we can do for you with those push notifications.
Yep. If I were to add anything, variety, kind of like Carson said, people are going to buy a variety of things. So just offering it up for them is key. Consistency with a lot of these teams, like Rockford, they do something every single game and they have for years and years. Same with Huntsville. Things like Memorabilia Monday, first goal puck auction, Friday night jerseys, but also not ignoring holidays too, like the red, white, and rock lobster. Brilliant. 12 days of, or Christmas in July, another cool one. 12 days of Christmas. There's also quite a bit of value too, Anthony, behind the scenes on Dash. So like Carson mentioned, all those transactions are name, number, email address. A lot of our teams, especially when we work with like an AHL ticket department and they're the go-to people that execute Dash. They're doing their typical jersey auctions and variety and consistency, but they're taking those leads and handing it to a good ticket rep to follow up with. Um, and taking care of season ticket holders with like exclusive season ticket holder events would be another variety consistency that you can introduce. And then, yeah, every market can be a little different, right? Huntsville, as an example, they started off, this is years ago, and now they're absolutely crushing it. 7,000 transactions every season. It's insane. They started off with goal pucks. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they were all listed as auction items. Became this consistent thing that fans would come to every Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday to get that goal puck. And they realized like their views were 500, 600. They'd bring in $700 on these pucks. And then they're like, well, with such a big audience, let's start introducing more items. So they would start layering a jersey that maybe wasn't worn that game or holding a couple jerseys back that were replicas in the store and listing those or tickets and experiences for the next game. So once you kind of find like what are those special things too that are like the rinse and repeats in your market, don't be afraid to lean in on adding more items to it because then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Anybody have any questions on that or any follow-up questions before we move on? Sweet. Your digital sales rep. So this is something that we have seen become more and more popular over the last 2 years. Like almost every team in the ECHL, I think, is running, and even SPHL is running some sort of experience on Dash. What we've heard from these offices is nobody wants to pick up the phone and call and to buy anything anymore, right? They want 3 clicks and a checkout. So what these teams are doing is they're listing their entire schedule or their entire catalog of penalty box experiences, high five tunnels, bench experiences, Zamboni rides, whatever that might be. I know Carolina did their Zamboni rides on Dash last year. Both intermissions, they listed all of those on Dash. So now fans again can scroll through. I think maybe I can get to, did it share my screen? Did it move or no? To Indy.
It is. I see
Is it on
Indy
Indy? Okay,
sold
perfect.
out penalty box.
So they just listed January 8th, January 10th, January 31st, and you can see like they sold out almost all of these. Because fans can just literally scroll through, click April 2nd, and then this is closed, obviously season's over, but there'd be a purchase button here. Any questions over that? I mean, adding experiences.
Yeah.
Some of the pushback we've heard from staff members or managers of a ticket department is like, well, we want our reps to sell it, right? I want to give my reps the opportunity. In that case, maybe just list your Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday games and let your reps have your Fridays and Saturdays and those premium night games to sell on their own. Or put one of your ticket reps in charge of Dash and give them a 1% commission and just say whatever sales you make on Dash also count to your sales for the season. Either way, right? We've seen again high five tunnel pregame coaches. Some of these too you can pull and put up for auction. So you can list them as a catalog as a buy now, or maybe take a pregame coaching experience. You get a picture with coach, you get a tour of the locker room, you get, I don't know, whatever this is, a jersey, a signed item, and put that up for auction on some of your premium games. Cool. Reporting and season ticket holder list, kind of as I mentioned before, when you pull your reports from Dash, it will literally say season ticket holder, yes or no. It will say in venue, yes or no. You'll have name, phone, email, address, all of the contact information for these people. So when I was in South Carolina at the end of the night, I would pull the report from my auction or from my buy now or my chuck a puck, whatever. I would filter out my season ticket holders really quickly. I would filter who was in venue and I would send a quick email and just be like, hey, thanks for coming out to the game tonight. Loved having you as the fifth line. Did you like the seats you were sitting in? And do you want to lock them in for another 20 games? It's just personalized, it's quick, it's easy, and it results in some good sales. Season ticket holder exclusives. I'm sure everyone here in the room can agree that our season ticket holders are never happy and they can never get enough free stuff. And so what we've seen a lot of teams doing is running activations exclusively for season ticket holders. So we can upload your season ticket holder list on Dash. We can hide events and only send the link to specific people. So like Orlando does a couple jerseys every auction only for season ticket holders. It's like a season ticket holder only auction Or we've seen teams do like season ticket holder only t-shirts or items or like things that they can buy. What a lot of teams are doing this season too is like season ticket holders get the first chance. So we did this with Kansas City last year through the MVP program. We provided them some pint glasses. They went on sale to season ticket holders first for $15. If there was any left, they went on sale to the general public for 25. Their season ticket holders sold this out in 24 hours, and they were like bound and determined not to let the general public get any of them. Like it was on all the forums and all the fan pages. They were like, season ticket holders only, we got to sell this out. So it's not a free perk, but it is still an incentive and it makes them feel a little warm and fuzzy while you guys are also making revenue as well, if that makes sense. Any questions for season ticket holders? For season ticket holder ideas? No. Sweet. So with that transition to the MVP program, we do this with 60% of ECHL teams, probably 30 or 40% of AHL teams, quite a few of the SPHL teams. What it is we can bring inventory to the table for you. I like to say that there's 3 points of this triangle. One of them is sponsorship, right? If you are sold out of dasher boards and you're sold out of theme nights and you're sold out of like some of these sponsorable elements, we can bring items to the table that you guys can put sponsors on. One of my favorite examples is Friday night jerseys, and this is something that like every team is doing in the ECHL and probably the AHL this year. It went so unbelievably well last year that everybody's buying in, but they're essentially doing 2 jerseys every single Friday. It can be a unique look, like Florida does these like area code jerseys. Rockford like did a throwback black jersey. Utah did like a captain's past. So every Friday they went live with a jersey of a Utah captain's past. The thought behind it is, right, like when you list a full set of 30 jerseys, you have 30 winners, not too many losers. And I hate to call them losers, but in this case, it is kind of what they are. But on Fridays, you list 2 jerseys, you only have 2 winners, and a whole lot of people with money still in hand. So then they come back next Friday and they bid again. Next Friday they bid again. By March, these jerseys were going for over $1,000 because these people were tired of losing. They like there's only 20 of these jerseys. They're not game worn. They're signed. I want one really, really bad. I want to be one of the exclusive fans to own these jerseys. Fans are buying in big time. Point being, you can go and sell this to a sponsor, right? This is Friday night jerseys presented by Chick-fil-A or Salvation Army if you want to add a nonprofit aspect to it. Second point of the triangle is nonprofits. So if there's a case where you're like, we've got a Make-A-Wish game or we've got a Boys and Girls Club game or whatever that is, you're already doing the jerseys for them to raise money. But as we've identified, you have a whole portion of your market that wants something in that $20 to $50 price range. Dash can bring items for you to the game at that $20 to $50 price range. That helps raise money for your nonprofit. What is my third and last one? Season ticket holders. Again, just doing season ticket holder exclusives like we did with Kansas City with the pint glasses. We did it in Adirondack as well. They get first chance at it. We've done some mini jerseys before, pennants, coolers, all different things to kind of enhance the night a little bit. Any questions about MVP program? If not, we can chat about it offline too.
I love the MVP program.
Upcoming opportunities. Haven't updated this in a minute because 4th of July is still on here, but Christmas in July is really popping off the next 2 weeks. We have gotten so many graphic requests for Christmas in July. Essentially, it's a closet clean out without saying closet clean out, right? It's just a fun way to move leftover inventory. Some teams like Hartford and the AHL are doing like 12 days of Christmas in July. They do 12 days of Christmas and they do 12 days of Christmas in July, and every day they're putting up like 1 or 2 items. This can be stuff left over from last year. This can be merch bundles. This can be hats. This can be tickets to a December game. If you already know the Christmas date, like put up mystery tickets as one of your Christmas in July dates, and start selling some tickets ahead of time. Kickoff to summer, we've seen summer sweat packs with like water bottles and koozies and, just little bundles of summer stuff. Summer series, again, kind of like Christmas in July, but teams right now are averaging like $1,000, I think, a week. The number might have changed since last week, but I think it's around $1,000 a week as teams are just doing like summer series, and every week they're listing like one or two items across the summer. This too is great sponsorable content, summer series presented by Chick-fil-A or Taco Bell, and anybody that places a bid gets 10% off to Taco Bell. Whatever sponsor needs some extra love throughout the summer. Back to school, that will be coming up in August or September. Last year, we saw teams getting lunch boxes signed or going to Walmart and grabbing like binders in their team colors and like auctioning off signed binders and signed backpacks and like stuffing backpacks of players' favorite things and auctioning mystery stuffed backpacks. So again, just kind of a fun way to engage with fans in a current event type of way. And then He's Back is one that's really trending as well as you're signing players and you're putting out on social media, like, he's back, he's signed, like, this player's committed. Those are some of our best engaging social media posts. So just adding a link to items signed by that player is doing really, really well for teams to capitalize on that excitement. Chuck a Puck. The biggest part about going digital with Chuck-a-Puck is to know who is buying your Chuck-a-Pucks. When you're in arena and people walk up with cash, if they're not a season ticket holder, they remain a mystery to us, right? They came in, they bought tickets, they engaged with your brand, they bought something, and they left, and we have absolutely no idea who they are, which is like a nightmare for a sales rep, right? Like, we want to know every person's name that's coming into the arena. So that's where teams have started doing Chuck-a-Puck on Dash. They're doing a couple different bundles. It's, 5 pucks for this or 1 puck for that, 10 pucks for whatever. But every time they make that purchase, you're getting their name, phone number, email. You're on the reports, and it's just a quick and easy follow-up after the event to those people. We've also seen some teams do like season-long passes. So what Wichita did was in September, when there's not a lot going on, there's not a lot of revenue happening, they went live and they said, hey, are you going to play Chuck-a-Puck every single game this season? You can buy a Chuck-a-Puck Fast Pass. And it's $100 for season ticket holders, $200 for general public. Instead of waiting in line at the arena, they just got put into a VIP line. Their name was on a list, and every single game they got a bag of 5 pucks. Pretty clever, because sometimes fans walk up and they look at that line of people buying Chuck-a-Pucks and they're like, not tonight. And you lose out on the sale. But if you can just get that money ahead of time, in a month that's a little slow, but also just go ahead and get people to buy in, it's a great opportunity. The only thing that they said they reported after that first season is they would put an asterisk that says, these are not transferable. So if you're not there, Sue and Joe in 102 do not get these pucks. And if you don't come on Friday, no, you cannot have them on Saturday, right? Just like making it very clear, because they got tired of being asked that. Any questions on Chuck-a-Puck? Jonathan, anything to add?
Not at this time.
No.
Maybe in the future.
Okay.
Might have some cool stuff.
Guaranteed giveaways. Florida generated more than $17,000 in guaranteed giveaways last season, and they literally did nothing different other than offer a specific amount of giveaways in advance. So in Florida, it's pretty hot. People don't want to stand in line for 3 hours for a lunchbox or a bobblehead, right? And I guarantee every single one of you have one of those fans that walks up to you mid-game and they're like, can I have one more for my nephew in Michigan, right? And like all the time you have to keep one for Susan underneath your desk. This is where Florida capitalized on that. And they're like, you don't have to wait in line. If you want one extra and you're going to be late, you can buy it, right? They put 50 up for 50 bucks. People sold it out almost every single game that they did this. It's just, so as you're buying your giveaways for the season, just add 50 more and put them up as a guaranteed giveaway. We've seen it done two different ways. Florida did it game by game. So they went live like 3 weeks in advance and they said, if you want it, you can buy it now. Coachella and Rochester did it like again in September and they did it as like a subscription thing. And they're like, if you want every giveaway from this season, you can buy them all now. Season ticket holders are 100, general public's 200, whatever you want to price it at. But then throughout those games, they would just have one held back behind the sales table.
It's a good idea.
Really, really, really good, easy one. First goal pucks. Is anybody here doing first goal pucks?
Like
Can't really.
Carolina, maybe?
I don't know.
Uh, River Dragons, pretty sure.
Columbus, are you doing first goal pucks?
Yeah, we started doing them this year in the middle of
Yeah.
the season.
How'd it go?
It went really well.
What is your process for that?
So we did a raffle for it. And then we kind of just communicate with our equipment manager and say, hey, I need this puck and can you get it signed after the game? And then we run the raffle the next week and they can come to the office and pick it up.
We've heard
Sweet.
some teams have a little challenge getting that actual puck. So they'll just have the player sign a different puck and just they'll let the fan, it's not the actual puck. And that's gone well too. So if there are teams out there who can't get that actual puck, sometimes like player scores his first pro goal and it's a hat trick goal. So those kinds of things. So it works too. It's awesome.
Yeah, certainly won't oversell it in the fact that sometimes these go for 30 or 40 bucks, right? But when they hit, they hit. Like Tahoe had one that was 1,200 bucks. Quad City Storm and the SPHL had one go for 800 and one go for 600. So like you just never know when mom, dad, girlfriend, family members see their kid's goal or somebody they love, their fan favorite, their puck go up and it
Yep.
hits. So
Inaugural season or rebrands, those first pucks always go for a lot too.
yeah.
Just things to keep in mind for those on the call in that situation.
Game day activations, as we kind of mentioned earlier, this is where the biggest growth was for teams this year, is just listing a single item every single game. Coachella, Cleveland, Lehigh, like a bunch of big name teams here, literally just listing a single item. It can be anything from a broken stick to a helmet to like Columbus did like a locker room rug one time, which was absolutely mind blowing. Um, Kansas City, I think he just goes down to the equipment manager's trash can every single game to see what's in there, and that's what he lists. One game, I think he panicked because there was nothing in there, and he put up like goalie lessons, and they went for over 2 grand. So it's really, again, like Jonathan said, just the consistency, having the QR code up on the video board and just saying, like, what is tonight's item of the game presented by, sell the sponsor. And people are continuously coming in, grabbing a hot dog, yelling at their favorite ticket rep, and scanning the QR code to see what the item of the game is. So that's a really good one. Away games kind of already touched on it. 36 more opportunities to do more, to do a single item. Hartford's doing one mini stick every single away game. Huntsville is doing a jersey off the back every single away game. So video board announcements, that's using that custom by now. And it's also just a really good, consistent thing to have up on your dashboard. So when you do have these jersey auctions, kind of like what Anthony mentioned, is like using all these functions, you're already doing all the marketing. They click for your jersey auction, they get there, the jerseys are out of their price range, but there's a $20 puck or there's a video board announcement that's $10, right? Like you already got them there. Now let's get them clicking around to see what's in their price range and convert them to a sale. So it's just a good thing to always have available. Honestly, we've seen them anywhere from like $5 to $25. So whatever that means for you in your market. Friday night jerseys, again, touched on this a little bit earlier, just kind of redundant. A lot of teams did this season. Rockford, I think, was averaging like $675 a jersey. Florida was averaging around $500 a jersey. Again, just limited quantity, 20 jerseys max, one or two every Friday throughout the season. Did really, really well. Merchandise, if we have any merch people on the call, we have seen people do gift cards on Dash. So $20 gift cards for $15, especially around the holidays, Black Friday, red, white, and rock lobster blowouts, right? Like just throw up a $15 gift card or for $15 and it equals 20 at the team store. Dash Mondays, throwback Thursdays, item of the game, whatever that is, to help move some of the merch that's been accumulating for you guys in your stores. One thing we've seen that's really going crazy right now too is be the first fan. I don't think I can highlight this. It looks really funky, but there is something to be said about bragging rights and people paying big money for bragging rights. Like if you have your merch already ordered for this season, like grab a hat, grab a t-shirt, grab a lanyard, grab a pint glass, put it in a bundle and be like, be the very first fan to own this year's merch. Why it works, I have no idea, but it works everywhere. It works on merchandise, it works on jerseys. So the SPHL kicked it off last year and it's kind of caught on like wildfire is be the first fan to own this theme night jersey. And they go live with one jersey about 3 weeks in advance and they get to be the only fan at military appreciation in the military jersey. It's nuts what some of these jerseys are going for. And then mystery bundles to move old inventory. Like for some reason that works too, is just throwing in the hat that you can't sell, some signed pucks, some signed items, build out a pretty good mystery bundle and put them up for $20. Or some teams layer it. Like they do all mystery sales, but for $50 it's 3 items, for $60 it's 4 items, for $100 like it's 5 items and a jersey, whatever those are, but just kind of clean out some inventory and clean out some of that stuff that, people aren't grabbing when they come. Jonathan, anything to add on that one?
No, you're nailing it. You have so many ideas. I think the challenge for a lot of teams sometimes too is they say there's so many ideas, which ones do I do? Just pick a handful, roll with them. If they're not working out, there's a bunch of other ideas you can start rolling with too. It's all kind of trial and error.
Yeah, and to be fair, they're not my ideas. I like to say I'm just a well-informed middleman and talking to all of you and watching what Columbus does and watching what the Rock Lobsters do, and then just passing those ideas back and forth across leagues. Um, Again, not reinventing the wheel. Community relations ideas. Right now, we don't have players in town, and if you do, you're very, very lucky. But the one player that never leaves is your mascot, right? So if there's an opportunity to do, I don't know, National Pizza Day or National Donut Day and have your mascot out delivering donuts or delivering pizzas or use your mascot as much as possible. We pay our mascots a good amount of money. So if there's ever a holiday or a current event or something, like definitely get them included. Or if it's a mystery bundle, one lucky fan is winning a flower delivery from the mascot. I don't know, right? But put put that guy to work. Um, Community relations ideas, kids club registrations. I should have put Carolina on here because they sold their kids club registrations on Dash last year and they did an incredible job. Savannah unfortunately beat them out on this slide. I think they sold maybe like 20 more than Carolina, but Savannah sold 100 kids club registrations on Dash last year. Just again, something to go live with this summer. If you posted a he's back signed player auction and kids club was like running simultaneously. So when they got there, they also saw the kids club registration and like everything that went with it. You might get a double whammy there and people might buy into both. Auction items is fundraising, kind of like what Rockford does. Wherever you put that money is totally up to you. Whatever bucket it goes into, it can go into tickets, it can go into nonprofits and fundraising. The other one that I like to list for community relations is get to know the players because that sells. Like these fans want in on the inside jokes. They want to know the players. They want to laugh along, right? So like Indy Fuel in the ECHL does a really, really good job of having their players like decorate dog bowls for like their dog game. So they'll go to Walmart and get like 30 plastic dog water bowls, do a whole community relations segment of them like sitting there playing, painting their dog bowls, and then put those dog bowls up for auction. We've seen player painted ornaments. We've seen player painted everything. Um, One of the other good ones Worcester did, it kind of started in the NFL. I don't know if you guys have seen it on social media, but they would go up to players with their like really, really old photos of them as a kid, and they're like super awkward, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, where did you get this picture?" And they asked the player to sign it. Worcester did that and then put those photos up for auction. So just again, you come out with the video on social media and then put the link. Fans can laugh along. Sometimes it translates to more dollars.
Yep. And like they went down to Hobby Lobby, bought frames for like $1.50, stuffed them in there, and just it was a nice piece. I mean, they all sold for like $50 to $100, depending on the player.
One I haven't seen anybody do yet, and I really want somebody to do it. So if you do it, you'll be my hero. I've seen it in the NFL as well, is they've had their players try to draw their logo on t-shirts. I don't know if anybody's seen this, and they're awful at it, right? Like you have the Kansas City like Arrowhead logo or like the Vikings, and it's just like awful, but it's on a t-shirt, and then like you can put that t-shirt up for auction, and like give the money back to a nonprofit or something. But again, just kind of funny, engaging content. Marketing ideas, kind of what we're talking about right now is just changing your links and changing the narrative. Right now, especially this time of year, we get into such a flow of like, click here for tickets, click here for tickets, click here for tickets. And like everything is like tickets, which as it should be, right? But like, how can we change the narrative a little bit of like, he's back, player auction, we're still staying relevant. We're just being a little bit more creative, I guess, in our links. Player signing series, another one teams have talked about is like player birthdays. So if you have player birthdays throughout the summer, put up a birthday package. It's this player's birthday. Happy birthday, Jonathan Huffnagel. Here's a signed jersey from him. I know the Rockford Ice Hogs are going to go to like their local cupcake shop, and it's going to be player birthdays presented by Cupcake Shop. And then anybody who wins that auction also gets like half a dozen cupcakes or something from that sponsor. So that is all I have. I know I like ripped through it pretty quick, but you have the QR code to the presentation if you want to kind of like go back through it slower, click on some of those activations, see what those teams are doing. Or obviously we're all here to help as well. So
Except for me, apparently. Not
yeah,
on the
you always, when you make yours, you're always at the front, and so I don't know. I can add you on there.
been voted off. Thanks, guys. Go leave.
Cool. Any questions from anybody? I think there's who's in the chat.
Scott's talking smack in the chat.
Oh, Hannah's here for Charlie. Great.
Yep.
Hey, Carson, I know we have another call tomorrow, but could you share, like, not only with myself, and then like, not now, but just like through an email, like what is some timelines and stuff for you guys? I know last week I'd asked you about some of the VIP stuff you do for graphics creation. Can you just maybe send that out to me, or probably to everybody in the league, just so we have an understanding of what that looks like? Because I was unaware of kind of what those deadlines are to get some of the stuff that you guys will provide for us done. I think that could be a really good tool as we all start to move through this process. It's like, hey, if Dash is going to provide us with some elements, kind of knowing, when we need to place orders or, submit graphics requests and that stuff, I think that'd be a good benefit to everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Thanks for bringing that up. So just so everybody's aware on the call, like there's a lot of ideas here. And everyone on our staff has worked in a team office before. So we know that it's really easy to come up with ideas, but then somebody has to do it. Right. And like that's the hardest part is like now we need graphics and now we need to do all of this. So we try to take as much off of your plate as possible. And we do offer complimentary graphic design for anything that you want to run. We'll load you down with sizes for all of social media. We'll video board, posters with QR codes, dash sizes, right? Whatever you need. Typically, we ask for 48 hours on that just for your benefit and like making sure we get those back on time. If we need to be quicker, we can, right? If there's something super spontaneous that happens and a player just played his 300th game or he just scored his 100th goal and like we need to get something up, like we can be quicker if we need to. So,
But don't wait on that, please. You'd be so
yeah.
surprised how many teams on a Friday would say, "Oh, we have a jersey auction tomorrow. I need all these graphics." And we're like, "Did you not know you got a jersey auction tomorrow?" If you can get it to us a week before is even more ideal. Just so we're not flooding everybody at the end. On the MVP stuff, where we're helping teams acquire inventory, like if it's mugs or nameplates or mini sticks, now's the time to be having those conversations. So especially with a lot of our hockey teams, there's teams that are like, we got our schedule, we're working on our promos, got a couple more meetings before we solidify those. Typically, once the promo schedule is released, we'll go through that with you and identify some of these A or B games where you kind of want to layer additional inventory or turn B games into A games when there's not a jersey auction. Or maybe it's the seasonality of the year, like 12 days of Christmas, St. Patrick's Day is a big day. So we'll start doing that in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Um, on our end, what we do is we put a deal flow together based on what we've talked about. We just make sure that the inventory we're ordering, the cost, and what the potential sale is going to be doesn't put Dash in a bad position because we go out and we buy that for you. When we sell it, it's a profit share. So the costs come out of inventory first. So once we've got the deal flow, you guys could give us your paperwork, or we could just use our Exhibit A, is what we call it, where it just outlines the activation, what inventory, the dates, and how these items are going to be sold. Are they buy now? Are they auction? How are we doing that? Um, and from there, once everything's signed off on, we'll go talk to our graphic designers. And if we talk about mini sticks or pucks for St. Patrick's Day, we'll go get a bunch of designs for you. We'll present them to you in a Google slide deck. You can say, I like this, or hey, I like this, but it would be better if you added this sponsor logo to it. And we can go make those adjustments. Once the items have been designed, you sign off on it, we go order it from a league vendor. Shows up on your doorstep 2 weeks before the game. We will provide as much marketing, digital, in venue, your dash graphics as possible, so that you're empowered. And then all we ask is that you guys typically will get these items sold, unless it's a mug. That's kind of tough to sign. But if it's a locker plate, a jersey, mini stick, whatever, as well as just fulfilling these items too. As you can imagine, like, I mean, that program last year, we sent 20,000 plus inventory pieces to teams. So we wouldn't be able to fulfill them. But if the team can fulfill them, that's great. And you could have those fans either come to a sales table to pick up that item at the next game that has a ticket rep there, or you have a pickup in the merch store where they've already bought something, and what a great time to buy something new as well. So use it as a relationship building tool to connect humans. It's a great question.
I think Utah did like 2,000 items last year alone.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Florida, I mean, all of our best teams are running MVP. Well, I forget what the stat was, Carson, like 18 of our top 25 teams ran some kind of MVP program.
I think so, something like that.
So happy to
What
run.
other questions?
Hey Jonathan, Philip Bork here. I'm off of Mrs. Brandy's computer here. But so whenever we would make an account through you guys,
Yeah,
we would have to make it through y'all. We can't do it on the app or the website on our own, correct?
correct. Yeah, we would create admin credentials for you.
Okay.
You would log into a separate website. It's teams.winwithdash.com, whereas the fans go to fans.winwithdash.com or the mobile app. And you're good to go. Same thing applies, no upfront cost, 8% transaction fee, goes to 6 after 50,000. We do transaction reports on the 1st and the 16th of every month, and we cut you a check.
Yes, sir. That sounds perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great question, Phil.
What else we got?
I was
Any
gonna
other
say, what
questions?
do you got? Anything else, Carson?
I don't think I have anything else today. I did a lot of talking. It's like auctioneering off ideas.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, cool. Well, if anybody has any follow-up questions or you want to meet separately or you want to talk about anything, I'm pretty sure everybody here has either Jonathan or my email. Um, just pop in our inbox and we can set some time aside and continue to chat. But thanks for your time today and thanks for joining and appreciate all you guys. Looking forward to a fun season.
Yeah, thanks so much for making time. Thanks again, Jeff, for getting the word out and getting everybody here, and appreciate everyone just setting an hour aside. And we're happy to connect with y'all and make it the best season yet, like Carson said.